What's going on? So I got two videos to make. They're not related at all, but I want to get just both of these videos out. So I'm gonna get right into the topic. So I want to talk about corporate media versus social media, and how so many people misunderstand social media because social media became like, I guess, with the invention of the internet, right? Because these are technologies. As technology evolved, it became more complex. So, with the invention of the radio, all you could do was hear people speak and tune in when they were whatever, and then the news was on the radio. Before the news was on the radio, the news was in the newspaper. And there was like these major newspaper companies. And then when TV was invented, like things like Fox News and channel MSNBC and all these other news people, these major news corporations became corporate media. Right now, corporate media technically existed back when there was just radio, back when there was just newspapers, because the newspaper was a corporation that was giving the news. Corporate media. Now, it kind of goes over our heads when we say these words, but like the words kind of describe what things are. So corporate media is a corporation giving the media. Um, I mean, even when the invention of TV and the invention of cable and like satellite dish, like Dish Network, and all the other things, whatever, those are corporations as well. Now, just like those turned into Netflix and Hulu, and those are corporations giving us, media, giving us entertainment media, but not necessarily news media. So, social media is the social aspect, the people giving media. So, people now, you can use social media because it's a technology. It's like all of these things in one, right? So there was radio, TV, internet, whatever. Social media became this thing where like it's so many things in one thing, because every social media site is different. But but what we misunderstand about social media is like, a lot of the older generation, they still get their news from like corporate media. But corporate media, we know, is flawed and like, bias, and they just want ratings, and like they don't understand. So like what happened with corporate media is, how like big corporations swallow the little guy, like kind of take over the little guy. Um that's what social media did to corporate media, because now for corporate media to get more views, all the corporate major news stations all now are on social media, like Fox News and Channel NBC. They all have a TikTok, they all have a Facebook, they all have a, whatever the fuck, they all have a YouTube, they all have all these things, because that's where the people are. Now, when the older generation dies out, like, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, but it's just a thought that I had when I asked my daughter a question last week. I asked my daughter a question. You know what the question was? Do you know what Fox News is? Do you know what channel MSNBC is? Do you know what, like, I just tried to explain, do you know what the news is? And she was like, what? And I was like, thank you for proving my point. But then, because it's not just her, if you asked all of her friends, they'd probably be like, what are you talking about? Because the only people that even know what like a lot of my generation, because I was born in 1993, so like I'm a millennial, but a lot of millennials know what Fox News is or whatever, but the generation after me doesn't really understand those things, because that's not how they get their media, that's not how they get their news. So like a lot of the older generation, when younger people say we get our news from TikTok or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, they're like, the older generation will judge us because they don't understand that even the corporate media is now on TikTok. So like, I don't follow any of the corporate media sites, but you don't need to. When there's a major thing that happens in the world, When you're scrolling through TikTok, you will see that there's corporations trying to spread the knowledge and that there's human beings trying to spread the knowledge. Human beings trying to spread, and see, this is where I trust human beings more than I trust a corporation, because a lot of these humans are not, like, the only thing they get out of explaining the information is views. Like, maybe sometimes they have a brand deal or whatever, but when it comes to news or people just wanting to explain what's going on in their life, that is media. We misunderstand, like, because this evolution of this thing, first there was news, like Fox News and all that, and that was like the only real thing. Like, because with the invention of TV, they were all fake TV shows, fake movies, like actors acting a movie out, or like it wasn't real, it was imagination version of real life. So like in movies, you have people that fall in love. In movies, you have all these things that happen, and yes, those things happen in real life, but the actual scene in the movie isn't real. So with the invention of social media, humans became the media, because what was Fox News and what was the news people doing back in the day? They were just trying to tell us about what's going on around in the world. Now, there was local news and then there's world news. The older generation tended to care more about local news because they weren't as connected with the world, so it didn't matter to them. But the younger generation cares, like, we kind of get this, and it can be good and bad, because someone who doesn't have self-control, someone who doesn't have an understanding of these tools, that these are all just tools. Just like Fox News and all those type of news has fucked people's minds up, right? Because the reason why my daughter doesn't even know what Fox News is because I haven't watched the news. Like, the news hasn't been, like, I just got a TV last year. Last summer is the first time I've had a TV since, like, 2013 maybe. Like, that was the last time I had a TV. And last time, like, Fox News or that channel, like, any news thing was being played was when I was a child and my mom was playing, like, watching it, or my great-grandmother in the house, or somebody was watching it, so then it's just there, so I knew kind of what it was. But because my daughter grew up, like, all the people who grew up in this era, they're not gonna really know what that is, because they don't get their news from that, and they never have. And most of the parents who are millennials, they don't get their news that way either. Like, we get our news through social media, because social media is a combination of corporate media and human beings explaining just what's going on in the human world. Because what is media? What is news? Everything. Everything is news. The fact that I'm making this video is new. Like, the fact that you, like, it's crazy, because the funny thing about life is everything is news, because all the news is, and all social media is literally a documentation of human beings. The older generation might not like the way things are, but it's human, I don't even know what to call it, human nature or human evolution, or as human beings are living today, they're doing things of today. Just like the human beings of the 1800s, of the late 1800s, were listening to the radio. Like, that's all. Like, that was their way of living, listening to the radio and reading. And now with all these tools, there's all of these tools. There's radio, reading, TV, and TV has evolved now, because now there's TV as in, like, so I have a Samsung TV and all I have is the internet, right? But with a Samsung TV, you have Samsung TV. Samsung has their own, like, TV channel things where, like, if you get a Samsung TV and you have the internet, you can basically get free Samsung TV. So it's like cable, has channels, but it's much different. But then there's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's Apple TV, there's, like, all these different things that have now become like cable, the future cable, but there is still cable. Cable exists. Just like Fox News exists. I don't demonize people who watch Fox News. Like, I don't think people who watch Fox News are any less whatever than me, because I know like, if somebody tells me what they learned on Fox News, I can say, yeah, I learned that too. But I learned it from somewhere else, because information is information. Like, if just like with the thing that happened in Ohio, I learned about that through TikTok by human beings who lived in Ohio, who lived there, who are experiencing these problems. Just like back when the thing in Ukraine happened, I learned about the thing in Ukraine from human beings who live in Ukraine, who showed videos of, like, who happened to be recording crying while bombs are fucking dropping, and they uploaded the video. Yes, a day later that video gets deleted, but because it's social media and things happen so fast, if you just happen to be on TikTok at that time, you've seen that video, well, you know that that's going on in that area. And TikTok will only show, like, these social medias, ever since they added algorithms, they will only show you the things that you're even interested in. Or the problem with humans is because they watch the things that they don't even like, the algorithm is an AI, so it thinks that you like what you're watching. Like, if you watch something that you don't like, and then you're going to see more of that thing that you don't like, that is only because AI is not a human being. So it can't tell you, it doesn't understand that you don't like what you're watching. It just understands that what you're watching is what's keeping you on the platform. So then they show you more of that. That is why, like, people who get into watching negative content, they see more negative content. People that get into, like me, I'm into spirituality and psychedelics and, like, all this other stuff, but I love human beings. So, like, I also watch, like, I'm subscribed or follow on TikTok, like, homeless people, or people who used to be homeless, or people who help the homeless, or situated. There's a lot of different things that I've followed and I've seen, because there's a lot of different things that I'm into. So, like, I'm into a human, like, the human aspect of it. This is what got me out of cable. The first thing that got me out of cable was YouTube. Before YouTube added algorithms, back in, like, 2014, 15, 16, YouTube was dope. It was like my cable. It's what I used, it's what I watched, because I like to watch human beings. Like, I like to learn about the human species, what's going on in the world, what went on in that person's life. I like to watch people's videos that explain their life experiences. I like to watch people's videos that explain their psychedelic experiences. I like to watch shamans talk about what it was like to be a shaman. I like to watch scientists talk about what it's like to be a scientist. I like to watch just, I don't know, there was so much shit that I've watched over the years on YouTube that then now I use YouTube, TikTok, mainly just YouTube and TikTok, right? And, like, sometimes, like, I've been watching anime with my daughter lately, and, like, little things like this, but these are the things that I'm interested in. I get to do what I like. I get to learn the way I want to learn. Like, when I was a kid, they used to try to force me to read, right? And, like, I used to try to explain to them, I think I have a reading disorder, because, like, it's like I can't read chapter books. I can read research papers, or, like, short, like, I can read an essay, but give me a chapter book and I'm going to end up forgetting what the fuck happened in chapter 2 when I'm on chapter 4. And I don't know why. It's just always been like that. But when I listen to an audiobook, I remember the whole thing. So I started figuring out what works for me. So, like, with corporate media, there was only Fox News. There was only these things. So humans couldn't choose. They had the illusion of choice because the choice was Fox or Channel MSNBC or whatever, or ABC or all these other, whatever the fuck, right? There wasn't really a choice. There was the illusion of choice. Just like there's still the illusion of choice because, you know, there's only so many options. But, and none of them are perfect because humans are not perfect. We're not machines. So, like, people explain things, Fox News explains things, all these other people explain things. But, like, just like Fox News became many different things, it's not just giving the news. There's shows on Fox, there's shows on ABC, there's, like, the Today Show, like, all that is part of the news because it's part of corporate media. Just like when somebody's just dancing on TikTok, as funny as this sounds, that is also part of social media because it's showing what a lot of human beings are doing in the world today. Like, because that's not what people were doing in the 1960s or 1980s or 1990s, the Fox or whatever did not document that because that's not what people were doing. But now, that's what people are doing. And my position on all of this is I try to observe with no judgment. So, like, I don't have judgment of people who watch Fox News. I don't have judgment of people who dance on TikTok. Mainly because I have a daughter, right? So, because I've watched a girl grow up, I now, like, well, she's almost 12, but, like, I've watched her grow to the point where she was dancing when she was 2. So, like, girls have more flow. They're females, they're feminine, they're, whatever. So they do different things on the internet. They're gonna want like to do different things. So like, but it's not just girls. You are a different man than me, and you will not like to do the same things I like to do. When I was a kid, I used to love to dance too. And then when I learned how to sing, I started singing and rapping and making music, and that consumed my life from the time I was like 11 until now. It still consumes my life, right? Except I don't rap anymore. I just make electronic music, but eventually I will get back into rapping. But like, that's me. And so I use the tools that help me be me, and other people use the tools that help them be them. So like, I'm just observing. I just love the fact, this is why I love social media. Like, a lot of people talk shit about TikTok, but I love TikTok because my TikTok is curated for me. And if somebody scrolled through I might even I've thought about this video. I need to either have my daughter here or my mom, or when I'm at my mom's, because I need a second phone. Because I was thinking about I'm going to scroll the video ideas, I'm going to scroll on TikTok on my phone, on my TikTok, and I'm going to record it on somebody else's phone so then you guys can see me scrolling. Or I guess I could just screen record or whatever. But like, I have this, I just wanted to show, like, to prove a point. Everyone's TikTok is completely different. Everyone's For You page is completely different. Everybody's social media experience is completely different. It is not like TV. So like, everyone's Hulu experience is basically different too because everyone watches different shows. But like, back when there was cable, everyone's cable experience was basically the same. I mean, yeah, there was differences because like, maybe you watched a different channel, or maybe you watched a different news channel, or maybe you listened to a different radio station. But back in the day when it was just radio, everyone's experience in radio was the same. You sat down in the living room listening to the radio. Like, that's what people did. But they didn't have many options to do anything else. So as these options are becoming more, there's more options. This is why social media, it's not that, I don't think social media gave anybody short-term attention. Like, people think social media, TikTok is short because people's attention span. No, that's not why. TikTok is short because there's too much shit. You don't have time to sit there for like, this is a 20-minute video. The only people that are going to watch this whole 20-minute video are like people that are into my life, that understand me. But imagine if you've never seen any of my content whatsoever. You probably, and then you just scroll through. Why would you watch a 20-minute video of someone you've never even seen before, someone you don't know, something like, you would rather get a short form content of that person so you can figure out if you even want to take the time to watch a whole 20-minute video of that person. Like, if you can get the information of what's happening in the news and what happened in the world or whatever in 5 to 10 minutes, because on TikTok you can do 10-minute videos. So if you can get it out in 5 to 10 minutes, you don't need the 20-minute video. So like, everything's evolving. So like, I'm on TikTok because it's dope. It's like mini cable, but there's so much shit on there. There's different avenues, there's different rabbit holes, there's different things based off of what you choose to watch. So like, I've been watching these movie clips where like there will be like maybe like 10, 12 videos, right? And it'll be part 1, part 2, part 3 of a movie. And it's like, there's many different TikToks that are like this, where it's like, you can kind of get the gist or the idea It's like a preview of a movie to figure out if you even want to watch the full movie. So it goes to what I was saying, where it's like with TikTok, it's like you can scroll through these maybe like 10 different movies and watch the parts in the matter of 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? And then figure out what movie is worth you watching for an hour or two. Like, people are doing a lot with their lives now. We have a lot that we can do with our lives now. The opportunities are, and like, there's so many opportunities. So, people are spending their time a little more wisely. And yeah, just like back in the day, I'm not someone that puts someone down for this, but this is just an observation that back in the day people scrolled blindlessly on, cable. Like, they basically did nothing, sat in front of a screen watching lights on a screen. It's the same thing people are doing when they're blindlessly scrolling through TikTok or social media or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Like, people can watch dumb content. That's their choice. People can watch whatever they want. Like, I feel like we just need to figure out what tools work for us, what news works for us, because I prefer social media over corporate media, and I always have. But there's nothing that someone who watches corporate media, there's nothing that they know that I don't know. Like, because it scrolls through social media as well. But people who don't use social media in that way don't understand that in that way. So like, this is just something that um like something I've been observing about how like social media is like the media of the people. Like, it's literally people explaining their life, doing what they, documenting their life, making TikTok videos, dancing or talking or giving news or smoking or tripping or making music or talking about producing or giving tips or trying to help or giving advice or doing this or doing, like, there's all this shit. People who do dirt biking and skateboarding and all just an endless amount of just the human species. And the human species is just documenting itself. In the beginning, we were being documented by corporate media. But now we're documenting ourselves. And it's a weird thing where even corporate media, somebody blows up on social media, corporate media then talks about the person who blew up on social media. Like, there's a lot of people who heard about Andrew Tate through corporate media instead of social media. So they only got a curated version of the person because that's what corporate media has always done. It doesn't give a full story of a full person because it doesn't really have time. It's just like, what I said about TikTok. You have a choice. You can watch short clips of people and then you choose if you want to go watch their long form content. Because almost everyone who does short form content also does long form content. It's just long form content doesn't get as many views as short form content because short form content does not require people to give you that much energy. Like, it's like you're asking people to give you their life. Like, literally, their life. We only get a certain amount of time on this life. And you're asking people to give you 25 minutes of their life, but they don't even know you. So that's why short form content is great for people to figure out if they want to get involved in your long form content. Like, things have just evolved. Things have changed. And like I said, there's flaws in all of these things. There's flaws in corporate media, there's flaws in social media, but I will always prefer social media because social media ate corporate media. Like I said, every corporate media now has a TikTok. Every corporate media now is on social media because they know that that's the only way that they can get views. Like, people are canceling cable. We're using Netflix and Hulu. We're using all these things. Shit, Netflix fucked up and people are canceling Netflix. Like, it's just, things are evolving. Things are changing. Blockbuster went out of business because of Netflix. Yahoo basically went out of business because of Google. Like, the evolution is never really as pretty as we imagine because it destroys the thing that was before. But with corporate media basically being kind of eaten alive, that's kind of a good thing to me. So I'm actually glad that I'm like, well, a lot of the younger generation doesn't even know what Fox News is.